Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Normally, as we all know, all the top players, or like even you don't have to be a top player, any professional chess player has some secondant. What does it mean? If there is somebody doesn't know what does it mean, let me explain. Secondants during the tournaments and or pre-tournament period, and secondants are helping to the chess players to analyze their opponents and to make some preparations against their opponents. So during the tournament, normally this is super tiring to going to play one game per day. Sometimes you have to play two games per day, and then you coming home or to the hotel, and you have another game or games next day, and you have to analyze your opponents and you have to prepare yourself, or you have to prepare your openings or other things for your opponent. It's not only about preparing, you also have to analyze your opponent. You have to check his all the games that potentially might be played tomorrow, and you have to find out, you have to be ready for it. And these things are taking a lot of time. These things are super tiring, and especially if you play the game for 5 6 hours, and then you only thing is you want just to go to your bed and sleep, eat, or that's it, just resting. Your mind needs rest. But if you don't have secondant, this is really affects your performance, because you're being super tired. Maybe you will go better for 3 4 rounds. Of course there are some exceptions, but generally after 3 4 rounds, your mind, since you don't let it rest properly, and then your mind goes super tired and exhausted. That's why professional players mostly times having their secondants, and mostly times it's also not easy to find the secondant that is suitable for you and also suitable for your style, understanding, and positional understanding, and etc. And when the professional players finding them, they don't let them go easily, so they keep working together for long years. And if you are going to be secondant of a professional chess player, which means you have to have a bare minimum knowledge, chess knowledge, to show them something. Because if your understanding about chess, if your chess understanding, chess knowledge is not enough to analyze the opponents, because your the opponents also your player plays against are like top players, I mean professional players. So you have to understand what's going on over the board to prepare some files and let your player to apply for it. And Oparin, and let's go for this game. And we see here Grigoriy Oparin plays against Fabiano Caruana. They just played this game a few days ago, maybe last week, in US Championship 2025. They played it in first round, and Fabiano Caruana was playing against his secondant, Grigoriy Oparin. And what's the thing? The thing is, normally when we think about the stuff like, okay, since these secondants are uh, preparing all the lines for the players, so that means the player who this secondant play working with, he is aware of all the lines, what he's going to do, what is because like I can't imagine there is somebody else that knows my games better than my secondant, for example. And that's why I always think like playing against your secondant, uh, this is something, in all the games, always the masters are teaching a lot of things to their students. But always, since that student also will grow up, will learn, and will reach that level as their masters have. And always there's a saying like those masters are always keeping or hiding at least one trick that student doesn't know. And in one day, if that student will become who is like competing versus that master, then that master will use that. trick. So this is kind of something like that, and this game finished in 27 moves, like, which means Oparin actually missed something early in the game, because yeah. And uh, so which means also Oparin didn't know something that Fabiano applied in this game, in this opening. And let's see actually what was that. That's why I found this game really interesting. And yeah, I thought there was some story behind of this game. So, and also, since one of the players is Fabiano Caruana, which is worthy player to analyze is all the games. And Grigoriy Oparin also is pretty strong player, which is who is like he's secondant of Fabiano Caruana. I think it tells a lot. So no need any further explanation about who is Grigoriy Oparin. So let's see what happened. Fabiano has white pieces, Grigoriy black, and here we see d4. Against d4, knight f6 is the most common, most popular answer. Even I also used to play it. Now I actually prefer to play f5. I'm trying to figure out some Leningrad touch system, and but this is in top level. Of course, this is a bit different. And after knight f3, we see c4. This looks like after e6, and we see knight c3, and then bishop comes to b4. Bishop attacks on this knight, but Fabiano plays queen c2 here. Actually, there is queen b3 as well, because when he takes, you just take back with queen, and playing this queen on b3 or c2 is actually aiming not to take this knight, like this bishop, after bishop takes this knight, not to take this bishop with pawn. This is just for sake of to keep this pawn structure tidy, let's say. And but we're seeing something actually interesting. After d5, we see here a3, and Fabiano asking for this bishop. Actually, what you want to do with this bishop? Like, just decide. Like, I'm not gonna let you just land your bishop there and play like nothing happens. And then bishop takes that knight, and this is the interesting one. Like, best move is to take back with queen. That's why we played queen c2, right? But Caruana takes back with b pawn, like b takes c3. This is interesting, but in the future we will actually understand it, and this is actually the idea behind it, because in the future, after playing, let's say, e pawn, in the future we will be able to trade this pawn, d pawn, easily, because then actually we still have these 3 pawns in the center as strong as possible. And that's why Caruana doesn't mind to break his pawn chain over here. And after that we see, of course, c6, which is understandable. After this, he also wants to take back with c pawn, and he says like, okay, if you're going to open here up, I don't mind, and I still will have at least 2 pawns in the center against these pawns. And after that, of course, one of the most natural moves, knight f3, developing, and then we see b6, aiming to put this bishop on b7, and in the future, since Oparin thinks like in the future, in some point, he will just chop it away, and why not to put this bishop here, or maybe in the future, if this pawn will be gone somewhere, and if this bishop won't be on this diagonal, and or even if that bishop will be on that diagonal, we can have this bishop a6 ideas as well. And then Fabiano plays bishop g5, attacking on that knight and pinning that, and then immediately h6, asking for that bishop goes back, and then knight b comes to d7. And here also, this is kind of liberating you for your queen, because before this knight, you can't easily go somewhere with your queen, because he immediately takes this knight, and you have to take back with pawn, and then in your king side, it will be super open and weak position. And that's why first he plays this knight, so if he will take with knight, he will take it back with another knight, and so he is not gonna create any weakness here. And now also for that reason, this queen doesn't have to protect this knight anymore. And here we see e3. E3 is actually not the best move, but also playable move. And after e3, castling, and then here we see super interesting and super radical decision from Fabiano Caruana. This looks like actually this pawn is hanging at the moment, like g4. But the thing is, first of all, you can't take it. This is not actually hanging because this bishop is still on this diagonal and still asking for this queen, and that's why you can't take it yet. And that's why actually I think Caruana says, okay, this is the opportunity that I have to, since I have that pin, let's just push this g4. And by the way, I have to say that Caruana didn't castle yet. His white king is still in the center, but look at this, like how close here it is. Like king is not accessible easily, and maybe in the future, but if he will survive in that till that moment. And here we see, yeah, since this queen goes yeah, somewhere else, and now also asking for this pawn, and yeah, g5 appears over the board, takes, and knight takes back. And then we see e5. e5 is not actually that best move here. Best move is yeah, actually, yeah, after knight g5, here it says like bishop a6 to come here and yeah, having a pressure, putting pressure on this c pawn. But yeah, e5 also is doable, which is understandable. He just wants to open here up since king is in the center. Oparin just wants to open the center. And also I have to mention that queen is on the actually same line with white king. And here we see c takes d5, c takes back, and then bishop b5. Now again, now this knight also is pinned here again. Like this, when this queen was here, this knight was pinned, and now this queen is here, now this knight is pinned. So, and here we see e4. e4 is says like, okay, since you played that way, like let's a bit, at least yeah, let's go a bit this way, like let's keep the center a bit close for now. And then of course rook g1 appears over the board because there is open line, and like why not to come here and attack on this king? How weak is this king actually? Yeah, look at, like, it's super dangerous actually. And finally that bishop comes to b7, knight goes back to open this line here, and then Oparin plays knight h3, knight h7, sorry, and queen comes to e2, which is like obvious, aiming to come here and attack, or just transforming his queen to the king side. And after queen goes to c8, king comes to d2, because this queen came here with this idea, attacking on this c3, and also there is no this knight is not pinned anymore. So finally that knight can play, and this was the actually idea, because now he gives away this knight, and because when he takes, he also takes this one, but Oparin misses something. Caruana immediately taking, he takes back, queen h5. Queen h5 is the only move winning here, by the way, because after queen h5, what you gonna do? Like, first of all, I'm protecting this, and on the other hand, I still have really crazy attacks over here. Like, I can come here, you cannot take. I'm just threatening to checkmate. And here he plays g6, but g6 actually is not attack on the queen because this is pinned here. First he has to play his king somewhere to attack on this queen. That's why he doesn't. Caruana doesn't mind it. Now c6, attacking to bishop. Bishop goes back, and then Caruana sacrifice his rook. Rook g6, pawn takes back, queen takes g6 check. King has only one place to go, which is h8, and then another rook comes to g1, and bishop just yeah, this is just, you know, like just nothing to do, and that's why just bishop comes to g4, which is totally free bishop. And after rook taking, and Oparin plays rook f7, and after playing rook f7 he just resigns actually, because there is no sense, like it's, yeah, what you're gonna do, like he's let's say if you play something like this, bishop g3, and after bishop g3 his best move is taking this g3. Can you imagine how bad is this position for black pieces? So yeah, it was great game actually from Fabiano Caruana. Yeah, the thing is, doesn't matter how much you are aware of the player that you are playing against. Sometimes it is still about strength, it's still about calculation power, it's still about your name. And yeah, this was the game. I hope you guys had pleasure out of this beautiful checkmate in 27 moves. And after this game, actually, Caruana like didn't win any game yet, and this was the only win. After this game, he played 3 more rounds, and all of them are draw. And Grigoriy Oparin also, yeah, goes. So they both have actually. Caruana has 2.5 point. Grigoriy Oparin has 2 point out of 4 rounds. And we're gonna keep following US Championship, and let's see who will become new US champion in 2025. So that's it, guys. Please don't forget to like the video and share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to my channel to keep me motivated to create more and more chess contents. So try to survive. See you next time. Bye bye.